Hey everyone! Welcome to the stream. I'm Alie, and this is
I'm
Rob.
Rob. How you doing?
I'm great, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Awesome. Great to see you. Very casual with
You
the
too.
tie and button. Or is that a bow tie?
It is a bow tie.
Ooh, nice. Love it.
I just wear this one. I don't care how I look.
Oh, yes, yes. We could tell. So thanks everybody for joining the stream. I hope audio and everything is good for you all. This is our second live stream, super exciting. For those of you who are new to the stream, what this is a recap of what SparkFun's February was like, what new products we released, what interesting guides and projects and videos we sent out, and then just some cool news that we want to share with the community. Plus, Rob and I having a fun time babbling and talking about all the things that we nerd about, that we nerd out on normally every day. Yeah, so without further ado, let's kind of get into it. First session is talking about like new products. So one of the ones that I wanted to talk about first, and let me pop up what this is in a second. I'm managing the stream and talking. Here we go. Is the new OpenMB Cam pure thermal device. So this is really cool. I know one of the co-founders who made OpenMB, Kwabina. He's a fellow ARM innovator. And what this is it's a touchscreen with a Cortex M7. It's actually an STM32H7 on there. I think it's like the biggest package STM offers, or ST offers. And essentially it has a camera on there and it has the processing with the screen so that you can in real time like do person detection, object detection. If you add on like a FLIR lepton camera to it, you can even do thermal imaging and actually see the thermals of everything around you. Rob, I think you have one of them right there, right?
I do. And if you've ever used the OpenMV, they're amazing. They're so cool. I think, when did they first come out? 4 years ago? 3 years ago? Something like that? Was it
Something like
three?
that. Yeah.
Something. But they're so cool. The list of example programs is well over 100, I believe, at this point. But yeah, it's just such a great piece of machinery, piece of electronics. And the fact that this does not only the 5 megapixel camera, but also has the socket for the FLIR camera, and it will overlay your colors on the screen that's already built into this thing. It's super cool. Yeah,
It's
I'm really
awesome.
excited to start playing with this.
Yeah, back in
This will give you
October.
Terminator vision.
Oh my gosh, that's a little creepy now. Back in October, I was in San Francisco, and Quabino was showing it to me live, and it's just amazing how much power he's able to get out of the device. And it's only like what, $200, something like that. It's not very expensive compared to FLIR cameras that run for thousands of dollars. And it's open source, and you can program it with MicroPython, and you can even use TensorFlow with it. So it's just overall like super easy to use. And it lets you do so much more than if you didn't, if you were just using a FLIR camera. So it's super cool. Um, so the next one that we
Yeah,
wanted to
big
talk
fan,
about,
big fan.
yeah, big fan. The next part that we came out with this past month was a distance sensor. And Rob, you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, we've had a bunch of distance sensors over the years. This latest one, this is a VXL sensor. It's a vertical cavity surface emitting laser. So it is a laser, even though it's class 1. Do not look at it. Do not use it to measure how far away your eyeball is. That's bad. That being said, it's great. The resolution is 1 millimeter on this, and it has a measuring range from 1 millimeter to 1300 millimeters, or 1.3 meters. VXLs are great. It's got a refresh rate of, I believe, 100 hertz and a field of view of 18 degrees. So it's pretty tight.
Okay,
And of
that's
course, it's
awesome.
quick. So plug it in, go.
That's sweet. I mean, Trying to think of all the cool things. Like you could have this as a door opener to check when your door opens, the distance there. You said it was 1 millimeter to 1,300 millimeters away, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's like, well, I mean, 1 millimeter is like nothing,
Right.
like a hair basically. And then 1,300, it's around this big. It's a couple of
It's
feet.
a little. Yeah, it's close. It's about 4 feet.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah, because I keep forgetting. I think in standard or imperial, and 1,000 millimeters is 1 meter. So,
Right.
so it is just about 4 feet. Um,
Yeah.
that's super cool. And the field of view, yeah, it's
Yeah.
laser.
50 degrees.
And
So,
yeah,
and of course, as a
so
music nerd, I'm like, well, you can make a great theremin with that.
oh, that's
You
right.
know,
Oh my God, and the fidelity of it. Like I've made a theremin with
right?
a like an ultrasonic sensor before, but
Hmm.
the resolution isn't the best.
Right.
That's super
But
cool.
yeah, 1,300 steps of resolution.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sweet. So then the next cool product that we want to talk about, which is a replacement of a product that we had on the store before, is this 500 gallons per hour liquid pump. And so you may be thinking to yourself, 500 gallons per hour, that's like 500 milk jugs per hour of liquid that this can pump. And we did the math on it, and that's about a full-size bathtub that can be drained in about 5 minutes. Is that right?
I think it's about 10. I think a bathtub's usually like 40. Well, a bathtub with a person in it usually like 30 gallons, 35 gallons.
Okay.
So figure that much. So it's going to be 8 minutes, 10 minutes maybe.
It's still pretty fast for something.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's impressive.
I
That's
have the old version of it here, which is 350 gallons per hour, and it's
I have the
tiny.
500 here.
Oh,
Yeah, just
you have the
but the
latest.
fact that something this size, 12 volt, is gonna drain your bathtub in 10 minutes, or just have your water feature just blowing stuff all over the place. It's a solid pump, and you'd be surprised how many people, how many users love these things. I didn't know we had that big an aquaponics outreach, but apparently we do.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, it could be used for aquaponics. It can be used for making a water fountain, a refillable like water gun, maybe. That could be really cool for the summer. um, it's super cool. And I'm getting some messages here saying, oh, I think we have some questions on YouTube asking about the distance sensor. So does the distance sensor work with water levels? Like will the light frequency, and what light frequency does it use? So light frequency wise, I know it's a category 1 laser. I'm
Right.
not exactly
Let
sure
me
the
see if it's on
frequency.
see if I can find it on the data sheet here.
Sure. Data sheets. Ooh.
940 nanometer invisible laser, frequency up to 100 hertz. That's all. That's all I've got from the data sheet.
Okay. Do you think it'll work with water levels? I'm not sure. I haven't tested it myself,
Lasers in
but
water are always sketchy.
yeah,
I know we've been trying that for years, and I haven't nailed it down yet.
got it. Okay. Well, there you go. That was a question from Sean Lewis. Uh, let's see what else. There's a bunch of questions. Sean and everybody watching, we'll answer the questions after this segment. Okay. So we'll just go back to talking about all the new products. So we talked about the liquid pump, we talked about the distance sensor, the OpenMB pure thermal cam. Next, we want to talk about something that something new, some new product category that we're working on, and that's the small line of products. And if you don't know already, this is a SparkX line, so we know it works. We've done the testing on it, but we don't have any technical support that comes with it, like with our red boards or any other of our main product lines. But it's really cool because it's like the same name says, it is small, like the cat meme, which was actually the inspiration of it. The boards are just under, like, it's a little over an inch wide, right? Um, an inch wide, and it's like 40 millimeters wide, 10 millimeters long. And this one is 3.2 millimeters tall. It's super small. And all the boards can be connected using ribbon cables. Well, technically they're printed
Nice.
PCBs. And you can see here, compared to a Lego, they're super small. That's 4 of the boards stacked on top of each other with the ribbon cables, plus an antenna and the battery, and it's super small. So this is great for wearable applications. It's great for low power applications. I think with the ESP32 variant of the small board, it can get as low as like 500 microamps. I think that's
I
right.
think that's right.
Yeah. So it's super low power and it's super small. So very fitting of the name. I don't know. Do
And
you
they're
have any?
super new. I haven't seen them yet. I haven't gotten my hands on any of them yet.
That's
So they're
right.
still pretty
Yeah,
new.
they are
But that's
pretty
what I love
new.
about the SparkX stuff. It's like, what exists in the world? Can we put it on a board and get it out there and see who loves it?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're just playing around with things with the small boards. If the community likes it, we'll come out with more of them. We tend to listen a lot to the community, and that's kind of a good segue into the next one that we wanted to talk about, is the power supply sample kit. So I don't know about you, Rob, but when making a new project or something, I always need, like, let's say I need a 9-volt power supply for something. I can never find one. I end up going to some IoT device that I no longer use, and I don't recommend you do this, but chopping off the barrel connector and just soldering right onto the power supply, and then never being able to use that original device again, which is fine. I have a lot of stuff in my home. But that's why we came out with this. So in this pack, it comes with 2 5-volt power supplies, one of them with a USB plug, a 9-volt power supply, and a 12-volt power supply. So you'll have all your power needs right there. And let's say you need more 5 volts than 9 volts, you could always use like a buck boost converter in order to bring it down. So super useful, pretty simple kit. And that was brought to us by the community that just wanted something like that.
Yeah, well, and I love this because, like, I'm fine. If I'm on my bench, I'm fine using my benchtop power supply, and I can set it, and I've got 5 volts, and I make sure the thing works. But then when I go out into the wild with it, or to test it anywhere other than my bench, I could dig through my drawer of old power supplies from phones and things past, but having this all together in one place is kind of great.
Yeah, and I have some really janky things that I've done with power supplies that I won't give anybody ideas in case you should not. We suggest you do not do this at home with the things
Well,
I've
and
done.
and I'll look through my supplies. I'll be like, oh great, 5 volt, 200 milliamp. What am I going to do with that? How old is this? What was this for?
Totally, yeah. And one of my favorite things to do is the little like Apple power plugs that used to come with iPhones that are 5 volts, 1 amps, which is nothing. That'll charge my phone in like 8 hours. I love using those to embed in walls for like smart switches, so that I get the power right there for whatever device, the Raspberry Pi or the Arduino. Um, it's yeah again, don't recommend you do the shoddy thing that I did with that, but it's I can show you all one of the things. Here it is. So again, do not do this at home. SparkFun does not recommend this. I don't recommend this, but I soldered on some like 20 gauge wire onto this so I could put it in the wall and then get USB out. So again, we don't recommend you do this at home, but the things you do
But we've
when
all done it
you
at
need
home.
it. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's why the
um,
term hacking came to be.
totally. Yeah. This is very dangerous hacking, but yes, hacking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, in less dangerous things that you could do to power your devices, we came out with this cool PoE USB power supply. So, if you have PoE, or if you have like Ethernet all over your home, I unfortunately don't, but then you can use this in order to send power over Ethernet, PoE, to whatever device you want. So it converts it out to 5 volts at about 1.5 amps. It's rated technically for more than that, but we've noticed that at 1.5 amps, that's when the voltage starts to drop. So keep it to that, or you can use the through-hole pin connectors, and you can connect to the 3.3 volt regulator. And I think that maxes out at about 600 milliamps. So this is awesome for IoT projects with a lot of PoE in your home or wherever you are. And again, this is a SparkX board, so it technically works, but we have no support around it. So use on your own. Have you done any PoE projects, Rob?
I haven't. I have two in progress right now.
Sweet. I'm guessing you can't talk about it.
So this is very exciting to me.
Okay, cool. That's a sneak peek of what's to come in the coming months. Cool. So next thing, probably the most interesting thing that we will talk about on this stream, I guarantee it, by far, we've come out with a pack of screws. Not only are they any screws, though, they are screws for connecting to the M.2 connector of our micromod devices. I don't know if you're like me, but if you are, then you've probably lost your micromod screws. And that's why we came out with these, because people told us that they need more micromod screws. And personally, this is how I organize my screws. In a bag full of them. Not very organized. I think, Rob, you have a couple of these to show how small
I've got a
they are.
bag of them, but as you can see, there are only 3 in there because I've already had to use 2. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of 2.5 by, what is this, 3 millimeter, maybe, screws lying around. And if I do, they're so easy to lose, especially if you have magnets anywhere in your shop.
Oh, gosh, yeah, magnets go everywhere.
It's a bag of 5. You're going to need them. You're going to use them.
Sweet. So that's definitely the most interesting thing that we're talking about on this stream. Just kidding. It's not.
And I think you and I showed the most restraint in that by not making screw jokes.
Yes, we did a good job
Moving on.
doing that. High five. So the next thing, which we don't normally want to talk about products that are out of stock on our site because of whatever the chip shortage or anything else, but we just came out with this product and it sold out immediately. So it seems like people like it and we want to tell more people about it. We have more on the way. It's an ESP Programmer. So Rob, you want to tell us how it works?
Yeah, this is great. This will connect to an ESP32 board using both the program interface and the JTAG interface, which is super cool. It's give you so much more power, more freedom, more usability than just plugging in a USB cable.
Yeah, and on board it has some pins so that you can connect to 5 volt and 3.3 volt. So depending on what your board uses, you can use that to power your board while you're programming it. So super useful product. It sold out in less than a week, which is crazy. So we'll have more in stock soon. But yeah, watch out for that. Add it to your wish list so you know when it comes out. Oh, you still there, Rob? Oh, Rob. I think we lost Rob. Oh no. This is a fun picture. Maybe somebody could take a screenshot of Rob and make it into a meme. Let me message Rob just to check if he's okay. But anyways, we'll go on. Oh, you're back, Rob. Nice.
Okay, you're back. I mean, I'm back. Okay. One of us is back.
You're back, yes. Okay, sweet. Good timing. So no worries. So going on to the next product that we came out with, it's actually smorgasbord of multiple products. So last year we came out with the quick alphanumeric displays in a bunch of different colors, and this past month we came out with a kit that has all of the displays plus all the quick cables, so that you can use all of them in your projects. Maybe you can even make like a Back to the Future console. I know, Rob, you were thinking of doing that, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely on the list of things. That's on the whiteboard next to the workbench.
Perfect. Um, yeah,
I mean, it's one of those
that's a
projects that
big
there's
one.
absolutely no reason for me to make, but I want to make it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's for
To
a
go
lot
with the
of
flux
projects.
capacitor.
Exactly, you have to. Otherwise, how are you going to put in the dates for the flux capacitor? You need to do
Exactly.
this. So
Hey,
this is just a quick.
alphanumerics, like I love alphanumerics so much more than just 7 segments.
Mhm. And they're much easier than like an LCD, which takes so
Yeah,
many pins to drive. It's
yeah,
yeah, they're hard. So yeah, that's it for the new products that we've released this month. Let me go through now to see what questions we had, and
yeah.
we'll answer them, Rob. Let's see, bring us both up on the screen. Um, what is the head pressure um, of the liquid pump? So the head pressure, that is a good question. Um, Head flow. On the back of it, it says the head flow.
Mhm.
Can you see what it says, Rob?
I don't see head flow on the back of mine.
No? Oh no. So on mine, but mine's the
What's it on
351.
yours?
Well, it's the 351, so I won't say. It
Okay,
says,
so
well, it says,
oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. I've got them both on here. I've got 1890 for the 500
1890.
gallon.
Okay, cool. So there's your answer, Sean. Um, let's see, what other questions did we have on here? Uh, John says he loves this complicated stuff. Won't say what word he said. That small stuff
I'm going
is
to guess
hot.
JTAG. This complicated JTAG stuff. That's probably what he said.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is. He loves this complicated small. That's yeah.
Oh,
um, let's see. Any other questions here? If you lose your micromod screws, then you're without them. I won't say the full comment, but I'm sure everybody can
but keep
intuit
them
out what
coming.
it is. Yeah, yeah. ESP Programmer is a high demand product. I've been trying to get one for years. Yeah, it is high demand. So we'll make sure to get more in stock as soon as we can.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and ours is so inexpensive. I mean,
it is. How much is it?
especially from what they were even a year ago.
Really?
I think it's under 15 bucks, right?
Oh yeah, it's 12. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it includes the cables.
Hmm.
Sweet. So with that, I don't think we have any more questions. Oh, there is. Sean said, how much of the FLIR open source board is open source? So it's not a FLIR board. It is a OpenMV board, not associated with FLIR, but they do support the FLIR Lepton thermal camera. How much of it is open source? I'm not sure. Is the PCB and the firmware open source? That's a good question.
Let me see.
Rob,
I don't remember how
let's.
much is it, but let me take a look at OpenMV's site.
Okay.
One minute, please. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, so I'll entertain everybody. So OpenMV, it was made by Kwabina and a co-founder of his. I know them. I know him because he's a fellow ARM innovator. So I've met him a bunch of times. He's super smart guy. Like, I don't say this often, but one of the smartest people I know. Like truly, he is on it. And OpenMV is his side project. He works at another company and does this for fun, basically. And just the amount of progress they've made with it in a few short years, doing it on the side is incredible. Like they're competing with a huge company with FLIR. So they've made great progress with that. Um, any update on the open sourceness,
All I
Rob?
see is low cost, open source, some from some other sites, Vision Systems Design Magazine, low-cost open source platform. I don't know how much.
Okay.
OpenMB.io, I believe, is their website. Yes?
Yeah. Yes. So everyone can check it out. You can go to their GitHub.
Yeah.
OpenMB boards. Oh, wait. I might have found it. PDF.
Yeah, I didn't check their GitHub to see what's there.
So on their GitHub, they do list the schematics for the boards. I don't know if they list. I don't see the bird files. So yeah, just check on your their GitHub, but they are open source and they're super nice. If you have troubleshooting issues, they can always help.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah. Cool. So with that, we'll move on to the cool blogs that we released this past month. So let me get this up on the screen. The first one that we want to talk about is this really cool like Bosch demos that were released at CES. Some of our team members went to CES and Avra wrote up this really sweet blog post of all the cool demos. So Rob, I think, did you bring one of these demos? Did you bring the fire one, the wildfire sensor?
I don't have it with me. I don't know that we got one of those.
Okay.
But it's interesting. Like I've known Bosch from back in my more mechanical days. I've still got Bosch power tools. It's funny, I mentioned this the other day. I said I have a Bosch router, and it was very confusing because Bosch router means something completely different in this community than it does in the woodworking community. But it was the woodworking, 3/4 horsepower edge trimmer
You
router.
had told me
But
that
anyway,
it
so
was
yeah, I've known
like
Bosch for.
yeah, you had said it was a 3/4 horsepower router, and I was like, how does a wireless
Yeah, you were
router
really confused.
need? Yeah. So go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was for doing edge work. But yeah, so anyway, I've known Bosch for years and years, initially as a tool manufacturer, but their sensors as of late are so cool, so powerful. And one of the things that I've been looking at lately after the wildfires, Colorado, it's getting worse and worse with our wildfires out here. We had December wildfires, including one that wiped out a neighborhood, 1,000 homes gone in an afternoon. I have friends that are displaced from, and there was no warning. And that was in a suburban area. So it's even worse out in the wild, in the woods. So I've been considering after that coming up with a wildfire detection system using a air quality sensor, particle sensor, a gas sensor with maybe a LoRa board on it and a solar panel. Throw those out in the woods and they're going to give you early detection. Well, guess what Bosch came up with and showed us in January or in February? That exact same thing. I don't know if we have an image of that, but
Yeah,
there it
on
is.
screen.
That's exactly that's what I have sketched out. I didn't have the cool little
gosh.
hook thing. My housing was slightly different, but it's the exact same thing, and they crushed it. They did it, of course, far better than I could have because I'm a guy in my workshop, and they're Bosch, and they basically one of the sensors, their gas sensor, I believe, this is the first thing they're using it on. But what a huge difference something like this could make to be able to know if you read anything from any of the fire marshals, any of the fire captains who've responded to wildfires, especially on the East Coast in California, you'll know that one of the biggest things for them is if we'd only known an hour earlier, and this is going to allow that to happen, and that's huge.
That's amazing. We need to get more of these out there.
Yeah, they had some great demos, but for me, this one really hits close to home.
Yeah, early response with any natural disaster, whether it's an earthquake, a wildfire, flooding, it can change people's lives. So this was awesome that Bosch made this, and have they open sourced?
Yeah, the size of the thing, it's like as big as the palm of your hand. It's green. Throw it in a tree somewhere.
Yeah, makes it easy, and anybody can have it. Yeah, so highly encourage everybody to check it out. Make your own if you can, and help prevent wildfires from hurting people's homes and taking people's lives. Well, in a slightly
anyway, that's the one I was most excited about. But they had other really cool ones too.
Yeah, and a slightly more
They're
upbeat demo that they had. They came out with a new basically Bosch wanted to talk about asset tracking and have a cool asset tracking demo, and it's kind of hard to do that at a single booth at CES. I mean, you could walk around the booth, I suppose, and track how something goes along, or send people out into Las Vegas and track them. But an easier demo, which is what they came up with, was using a barometric pressure sensor and a whole Lego building. And let me show you all this Lego building that they made. And the barometric pressure sensor is so, what's the word? It's so precise that they could move a Lego person, which I can show on screen too, up and down on the building. And it was able to tell you back, like, what is the altitude of the Lego person. So super cool demo, really got the point across using these Lego buildings.
Yeah,
Um,
I could tell you what
and
floor the guy was on, which,
yeah,
I mean, that's impressive enough in a building,
yeah,
10-foot
but
floors with on Lego buildings. If you can tell you what floor it's on, that resolution is amazing.
it
I think that's
is.
the BME 580. Was it the
I think
680? I think
so.
it's a
Yeah.
580.
Let me check. Yeah, the BM no BMP 390.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Yeah. BM no BMP 580. You're right. I'm reading the wrong
Okay.
thing. Yeah. Good memory. Um, so that
Yeah. Well,
was a
that's
sweet
another thing.
demo.
They come out with a new sensor every 45 minutes, and it's like, was that? Wait, was it for this one or was it for that one?
It's so hard to keep track of, and that's Bosch alone. Like everybody else is coming up with
Yeah.
so many sensors.
But
It's difficult.
the thing is with Bosch, well, with lots of companies, but speaking of Bosch specifically at this point, everything they come out with crushes it.
Oh my
Like
god.
their team of
Yeah.
engineers is so good.
Yeah.
Albert and
Yeah.
I were talking about that a week or two ago. I was working on something and she chatted me up. She was like, "Hey, do you know how to work around this?" I was like, "Maybe. I'm kind of doing the same thing right now. What are you using?" She's like, "I'm using the BME. I think she was on the 680." And I was like, "Oh, I'm using the 240 for something, some other project." Because that wasn't the important part of the project. But yeah, just the fact that they've got so many out and they're all so good.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And they're just coming out with sensors so fast. It's
Yeah.
so hard to keep up. Um, Talking about sensors from Bosch, they also had this cool alcohol demo, and I didn't have time to read too much about it. But did you see it, Rob?
I did see it. I didn't see it. I wasn't there, but I did. Yeah,
Ah,
I did read
yes.
a little bit about it. And yeah, but
It's
yeah,
super
this is
cool.
another one of their insanely good sensors.
Yeah, and
And
I believe what it is it's using like a VOC sensor in order to see like what is the alcohol
yeah,
level while they're fermenting the alcohol. Not entirely sure, but it was just a really cool demo and really visual. I mean, you could see the bottles there and the graph on this vertical screen as well. So super cool
yeah,
demos,
it was
Bosch.
the VOC.
Yeah, yeah. Sweet. So the other blog that we want to talk about was this crypto logger. So for those of you who don't know, trying to get any type of electronics to work in a very cold environment is very difficult, especially when it's at negative 40 degrees, which happens to be both Celsius and Fahrenheit. So we released a user success story of this awesome project where they're able to actually make a device using SparkFun boards to track how glaciers move in those like really inhospitable temperatures. Let me pull up what the device looks like. You see here, it's got a gigantic battery and some SparkFun boards here attached to this contraption that is able to rough it through those temperatures. It's crazy. Did you?
This is a similar build to the one that we did an interview with one of the engineers who was tracking ice flow in the Arctic Ocean in the and the North Sea, and it's a very similar thing. It's basically a global tracker, our AGT, the Artemis Global Tracker, and it's been really cool. Like this is a pretty big stationary one. The other ones, yeah, There it is.
Yeah.
So it's tracking ice flow, but this one was tracking the smaller pieces that break off and seeing where they flow and how long they take to melt, and that was also really cool. But yeah, this is another great use of this stuff, and the accuracy is so good, and the power draw is so low. I mean, you saw that like this thing will last for months, if not years, with that battery on it.
Yeah, and that's in those inhospitable temperatures too,
Right,
which
right,
batteries degrade in those temperatures. So
yeah.
just
Well, it's
crazy.
funny.
So
What the other guy was talking about, he said one of their biggest problems was the device ran fine, everything was perfect. The biggest problem they were having was polar bears finding them and eating them. I mean, not to eat, just because is this food? Chomp, chomp, chomp.
yeah,
Nope, it's not food. Throw it out. But chomp, chomp,
that is
chomp is
so
usually enough to wreck a
funny.
good PCB. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that was their
totally.
biggest issue. So if
Oh
you're
my
thinking about doing
gosh.
anything like this in these kind of conditions, I would like to go to Antarctica myself and maybe put a few down there.
Totally.
See if we can
Yeah.
squeeze that into the budget for this year.
Maybe.
But if you're thinking
Oh,
about doing it and you're worried about longevity, don't. I mean, polar bears are going to be your biggest problem, and if you're in at the South Pole, if you're in Antarctica, then penguins are probably going to be your biggest problem, and they're not that bitey.
yeah, yeah. They're small. Maybe I wonder
If
if
I'm
you
to
could
believe the
like
movies, they're more tap dancey than bitey.
tap dancing. Happy feet. Uh, yeah, I mean, I wonder if to prevent like polar bear attacks, you could cover it in some sort of like smell or something that like tastes really bad but isn't like
Right,
toxic to the polar bear in order to dissuade them from touching it.
right. Well, they said the first round they put in orange containers so they
Hmm,
could find them, but that
okay.
really pulled the polar bear's eyes. So the next round, version two, was in like light gray containers.
Got it. Yeah, orange containers kind of like the boxes that planes use that
Yeah,
store all their like
right.
log data.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But apparently, polar bears are drawn to bright orange in
look
a
at that.
field of white.
Well, that makes sense. Yep, it's the only orange thing out there.
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, the whole story is over on our website, and it's really fascinating.
yeah. Um, the next one that we wanted to talk about was GPS and GNSS. We came out with a blog talking about the differences between the two. Do you want to give us a rundown of it, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing videos and we've been putting out global positioning boards. And I would say GPS because I'm from the States and that's what we call it here is GPS, the Global Positioning System. But there are multiple positioning systems around the world used by every different area. You know, Beidou in Japan. Europe uses Galileo, I believe.
Baidu's actually
Um,
Chinese.
oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
Baidu.
But
No
yeah,
worries.
so GNSS refers to all of the satellite constellations, not just the North American one, which is GPS, not just the Chinese one, which is Beidou, not just the European one, which is Galileo. What's the fourth one? I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
There's GLONASS from Russia, Galileo
GLONASS,
EU,
yes, GLONASS, thank you.
IRNSS from India, and then
Hmm.
QZSS from Japan.
Right. But yeah, so all those fall under the category GNSS.
Got it.
So I had to train myself to stop saying, look at this great GPS board, because I didn't want most of the world to think, well, I can't use that because GPS is only North American. No, you can use it
Totally.
because it's GNSS.
Yeah, and
And a lot of our sensors, we're working with U-Blocks, and they're great. I love those guys. Everyone I've ever dealt with there is amazing. Their stuff is amazing. But most of their stuff can read three constellations at a time. So if you're blocked, if you're in an area where none, if I'm in an area here, if I'm in a canyon and there are no GPS satellites in my line of sight, there's a good chance there's going to be a Galileo or something else that my board is going to pick up,
yeah, and it also allows for
and it
more
reads all those
accurate
simultaneously. Sorry,
positioning.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no worries, no worries. It also allows for more accurate positioning when you are in an
Absolutely.
area with clear visibility, because then you're triangulating over way more satellites than just the, what is it, 3 or 4 satellites that GPS uses at
Mhm.
once? I don't recall how many. Um, but yeah, it's awesome. And just to add to that, we also released a new GPS GNSS buying guide. So you can check that out to see what all our line of GPS GNSS, basically like positioning devices, can do. What are their accuracy levels? What are like the distances that they can measure? Some of them are like within a centimeter accuracy, which is crazy to think.
Insane.
So check that out. You can check all of our lines there, and it's a really simple resource for anybody looking into break into that.
Yeah, if
Adam,
yeah, especially if you're using an RTK, real-time kinematics. So you've got a fixed base station. So your GPS unit is not only grabbing positioning from the satellites, but also from a known fixed station. That's when you're talking about centimeters accuracy.
yeah,
Was it last year or was it the year before? It must have been last year. Everything's a blur over the past 2 years for me. But I had one of our RTK units. We have a fixed unit here at SparkFun, and I was able to trace the SparkFun logo in the parking lot just by walking and looking at where I was.
that's so cool.
That was a fun demo. I get to do fun demos sometimes.
Yeah. How did you do? Were you just like as you were walking, kind of figuring out when you had to turn?
Yeah, I had, I know what the logo looks like,
Yeah.
but I had the GPS unit in my hand. It was reading from the RTK as well as from the satellites, and then it was sending a Bluetooth to my phone on the map app that I was using. Is it SMAP? I think it was SMAP. I might be wrong on that, but so it was sending in real time, and it was showing me where I was and leaving a trail of where I had been. So I was just like, okay, if I walk up this far, there's a straight line. Now I have to make that curvy bit. Now I make that other curvy bit that goes back this way and the swoop that goes up that way. And I was just winging it, really. But the fact that I could do it and it could show me exactly where I was, then was it me that did this or was it Nate? I don't remember. I think it might have been Nate, but it might have been me. I had it on a stick, had the GPS unit on a stick, and you could tilt the stick back and forth, 6 inches
Yeah.
either direction, and you could see it move.
That was
Like
Nate.
it's that
Yeah, he
accurate
he did
in
the
that
demo
real
for
time.
me like a week
Yes.
before it came out. It was so
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Um,
Anyway, yes.
yes. So check that out if you can. The last blog that we wanted to talk about was the atomic clocks. And Rob, you wrote this blog, so you're the most knowledgeable person to talk about it. Tell us about it.
Well, it was really cool. And it started out just live talking about, accuracy of, because we released a GNSS board that's primarily built for timing. Like, well, why a timing board? And so I started looking into that and accuracy of timing. And it turned out that stuff is really accurate. We're talking about a billionth of a second. And there's actually an atomic clock here in Boulder. And one of our previous engineers, Mike, had it in his trunk for some reason. He had borrowed it, or he was bringing it back to them. He had used it for something. Anyway, he came into the office at one point. He's like, "Hey, who wants to see an atomic clock?" And it's well, wait a minute.
That's so cool.
It's like that big.
That's pretty big.
But yeah, it was in his trunk. He's like, "Yes, the atomic clock from over in Boulder. I just grabbed it because I was using it for something." But yeah, the accuracy of those, because what it does is it reads the frequency of the vibrations of the electrons of an atom. Cesium atom might be one of them. Mercury atom, I know that a lot of the ones in space are using mercury atoms because the oscillation of electrons isn't going to change to any noticeable amount. And in an atomic clock, there's even an adjustment for that. It'll read what the oscillation is, and it can even adjust slightly so that an atomic clock is going to be accurate to within 1 second over about 10,000 years, I believe it is.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty future proof.
Yeah. No, that's not true because I know it's way more. I know it's more than that. Is it centuries? It's a long time.
Okay.
It's insanely accurate. Because if they're off by 3 billionths of a second, it's going to screw up GPS. It's going to screw up banking transactions. Like those things have to be accurate to that millionth or billionth of a second. And that's what atomic clocks allow for. The fact that all GPS, GNSS satellites have multiple atomic clocks in them because that accuracy is that important.
And that's how most of us get our time as well, because the GPS, GNSS satellites are sending down the time data from space, and that's what our phones and computers use to know exactly what time it is. And part of that calculation, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Interstellar, but there's like time dilation that you have to deal with because we're here on Earth. And so time is moving in a certain way for us because we're moving at a certain speed. But the GPS satellites are moving at like 24,000 miles per hour, a few miles above the surface of Earth. And so because of that, time moves slightly differently for them than it does for us on the ground. So they have to account for that when they're sending down the signal, or I guess when our phones receive the time data, which it's crazy.
Yeah, it was really fascinating.
Yeah,
On the
yeah, the
fact that,
amount of
because it's based on the positioning is based on how much time does it take for a signal to get from here to here, and from here to here, and from there to there. But if one of those is off by that much, your position is going to be off by 1,000 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's essentially a time of flight triangulation between the
Yeah.
satellites.
Yep.
It's just,
But yeah,
I
very
mean,
cool, very nerdy.
space stuff like
A
blows
lot
my
of rabbit
mind.
holes there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sweet. Thanks, Rob, for writing that article and giving us that great explanation. Let me see if we have any questions that we want to talk about before moving on to some cool news items. So, let's see. Speaking of conferences, are your RTK projects subject to export restrictions? That is a great question, Kanal. I imagine they're subject to export restrictions to places like Syria and North Korea. I'm not sure. I think there's a couple more on that list, like maybe Iran.
Right, around Cuba.
Yeah, I think there's like 5 countries that are on that list because we ship from the United States. Besides
I
that, I'm
don't
not
know if
sure if
there.
there's more.
Yeah, I don't know if there is additionally. Let me see if we have anything on the page. Usually, if there are additional restrictions, we'll have it on the product page.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's look at this one.
We're checking on that. SoCal
Yeah,
freelancer.
I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any additional export restrictions. I mean, I would certainly check either with, you could, excuse me, reach out to our tech support and they'd be able to let you know for certain.
Yep.
But I don't see any indication if there is.
Another question that we got from SoCal Freelance. Do you work with inventors to develop a product? So SoCal, that's actually my domain at SparkFun as the services manager. So if you already have a design for a board that you want to make, then we can do the custom manufacturing for that here in the US in our facility in Colorado. You could also use our ALC a la carte product on our website to basically pick what components you want on a board, and then it will auto generate the board and we will manufacture it for you. If you don't know how to design a board yourself or don't have a team of electrical engineers. And then we can also just kit things for you. If you don't need a full-on board, we can create a kit of all the different sensors and devices that you would need from our SparkFun catalog or elsewhere, and we could ship that to you or whoever you want to sell this or share this with. So get in touch. You can email services@sparkfun.com if you have some questions there, and just mention that you asked on the stream. So I'll respond to you. Okay. Besides that, let's see. I don't think there's any other questions. Somebody asked, 3D LiDAR and GNSS SLAM. I'm building a DIY scanner. Can you help? I can't. I'm not sure. Well, Sally, you'd have to see if there's any guides for that. I don't know. Do you know anything about that, Rob?
I know we used to have a 360 LiDAR scanner, which was great, but there were issues getting the proper parts, getting the components. It was all, it was all supply chain stuff. But I don't know that we have. I mean, I believe it's possible doing, if I understand correctly the question, doing a 3D scan to get basically a room, basically a 3D representation of a room or a building or whatever. And I know it's possible. I know it exists. In fact, was it the OpenMB 7 cam that might have done that?
Really? It doesn't use LiDAR though.
No, that doesn't sound right. What was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been a 360. We had a 360 LiDAR, like a single
Okay.
plane 360 LiDAR.
Got it.
That I know I did some work with that. And I think it is possible to take that. You'd have to add a second plane to it. So it was doing 360 this way, and then you could do 360 that way.
Okay. So,
But
Ocelli.
it's out there. Yeah. I would
It's definitely out
there.
there. You should probably check hackster.io.
Yep,
That's
Hackster.
the website. I'm sure somebody has put a guide of how to do it on there. They have so many projects. Cool. So with that, we just have a couple more things. So we'll start. We have a little sneak peek of something. We'll leave that for the end. First, we wanted to cover the James Webb Telescope has reached its final orbit. It's L2, I believe. So now it's just booting up everything and just getting ready, doing the final test to take its first picture, which this has been something that the space community has been waiting for like 20 years. So after so many delays, it's out in space. It's at the position it needs to be. I follow NASA Web with 2 B's on Twitter, so you can see when the first picture comes out. I wonder what they're going to take a picture of.
Yeah, you can also go to jwst.nasa.gov, and that's its website. The web is cooling and aligning mirrors currently.
That's so cool. And they've been providing a lot of like pretty detailed updates as it's been going on. And you can see the history of what it's gone through before then. They've done a great job of like keeping everybody informed.
NASA's been doing a great job at being open source.
Yes, they have. So the other thing, which is also NASA related, is the Mars helicopter is still going. So you want to tell people about it, Rob?
Yeah, I'll talk a little about it. It made its 20th flight over the weekend. Its 20th flight. Initial design was for 2 flights, maybe 3, but NASA does good work. So let's see what else we can do with it. They're currently at their 20th flight, and at this point, its next flight is going to start taking it back to its original landing zone. Back to the original landing zone. From there, they're going to go to the Jezero Crater River Delta, and that's it's cool. Both vehicles, Ingenuity and Perseverance, are going to go there. But Perseverance, because it's on wheels, is going to have to go around, whereas Ingenuity is going to try and go up and fly directly across, take the shortcut there. So it'll be there first. And just the fact that, first of all, the fact that this thing has some SparkFun stuff on it is crazy.
Yeah. Like it's what is it, like an ultrasonic sensor?
Yes, it's, I don't have one here. I have one at my workbench at home.
Oh.
We were just talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a LiDAR sensor, and it's down facing, and that helps with its autonomous landing.
That's so
and
cool.
They prototyped with it. They prototyped with a lot of SparkFun parts, which is really cool. But this one, Tim Canham, who's the lead engineer, was like, this thing works so well, let's test it in the vacuum. Test it in the vacuum. They're like, I'm pretty sure this thing is Mars worthy. So they just used it. They didn't, a lot of times they'll prototype with our stuff because our stuff is designed for prototyping. It's fast, it's easy, plug it in, test it. And then they will, of course, build their own boards that are space-worthy and all that other stuff that it has to be on a mission to another planet. But this was just straight out of the box, straight into the helicopter, straight off to Mars. And the fact that it is still running is incredible.
That's incredible.
And the other thing I love is the fact that we have not only an autonomous helicopter, a drone up there, but we have a second robot with a camera that can take pictures of it and send them to us.
Yes.
Take little stilted videos of, it's taken off. Oh, look, there it is. It's flying out of frame. I mean, how cool is that?
And here's a
There it
picture
is.
of it. Which is, it's so cool. There's an
Yeah,
autonomous
that's
helicopter on
crazy.
Mars, and there's like a 7 minute delay between like a signal that we send from
Mhm.
Earth getting to Mars and then it coming back to us. I don't know if it's 7 minutes each way or total, um, but that means that we can't just like fly this like an RC helicopter. Like it has to do
Right.
everything on its own. We tell it what we want it to do, and then it figures it out. So we have autonomous drones on Mars using SparkFun products. Just
Yeah.
the coolest. Um, so with that, the last thing that we wanted to talk about, and this is a sneak peek of something that is coming out on Friday. It's actually a huge thing that's coming out on Friday. We have a gigantic release Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. UTC. We're not really going to say what it is, but it's a huge release, and you should be refreshing our website when it happens, or on Friday in general, because it's huge. The only thing we've been allowed to tell you is, well, we've been allowed to show you this image, which here. Oops, I just I just realized when I don't put my face on here, I lose audio. So you saw those images. We can't tell you what exactly it is. We can't describe what the images are. You've already seen them. You can scroll back in the video if you want. But it's a huge release. um, it's a huge release. Stay tuned on Friday. All of SparkFun is buzzing about this. We've been working on it for a long time. And we're really excited for you to see this. So, with that, that's about it. We're just over an hour. I can see if people have questions. Rob, if you want to ask the community some questions, I know you had something teared up for that.
Yeah, well, we talked about a few things, wondering how you guys are doing out there, what's going on. One of our questions, what are you working on? We always like to know what you're working on. But here was another one we talked about. What are you using for housing? What do you use to house your projects? Are you using the red box that the parts came in, the SparkFun red box? I have some of that right here. The old doot button, thanks Alex. Uh, a lot of times I'll need a quick enclosure. Well, what can I use? Yeah, I got a box here. I got some SparkFun parts in it. Well, I should use it for something. So it holds everything I need. A little battery holder. You got a little thing right there. That's it. And yeah, sometimes it's that. I 3D print a lot. I've been 3D printing for a decade now, so I'll do a lot of 3D printed parts that, I just need something. Oh, here's a little holder. Here's something I made for my wife last Valentine's Day. I 3D printed
Aww.
this. It's a little infinity mirror that I run control via Bluetooth from an app that I built. What else? Cardboard. This was just a cardboard
Wow.
box that I cut up and made a dial for it was, I think this was a demo for one of our temperature sensors, but I wanted to make it look like an old timey elevator dial. But it was, again, just a hunk of cardboard.
Rob,
So,
wait. That looks so cool. How did you do that? Did you paint that? Or.
no, I just grabbed an image off of the web, an
Oh
Art
my
Deco
gosh.
elevator. It might have been one
Ah.
I had from one of the buildings in New York. I don't remember if this was one I took or one I found online. Anyway, I just took the picture. I printed it on shiny photo paper, and then you can see there's just a little servo back there. And I just mapped that to our temperature sensor. And that's why the floors go from, where do they go to? 63 to 81. So it was clearly designed to measure indoor air temperature.
Clever.
Um, I've got this. This was an old microphone case, actually. Was it a Shure microphone? Yeah, Shure microphone. but I gave it a little Einstein head that flips
Oh my
up for the
God.
safety switch, and then a little button here. It's got a little lock here, a little LED there to let you know it's on. But like, so pretty much I grab whatever's around. I had some, is this foam core? No, Coroplast, basically like corrugated plastic. And I just cut out a bunch of stuff to make a little housing because I needed this was probably another temperature sensor project. Yeah,
Looks like it.
but yeah, so Coroplast, and I hot glued it. It didn't have to look pretty from the back. It just had to hold some things and work.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, oh, here's a good one. This was an old a breath mint container. My wife was like, "Could you use the breath mint container for something?" I was like, "Probably." And like a month later, I needed something with a single button on it. So I turned it upside down, put a button on it, gave it 2 wires, a single button controller. So we want to know what you're using. What do you use to house a project in? You know, are you going all out? Is it laser cut and 3D printed and everything else, or is it a box, or is it a paper bag, or whatever? We want to know.
Yeah, let us know. Message us on social or tweet at us or Facebook
Yeah,
message or
yeah.
whatever
Definitely
social you
hit up on
use.
social and tag us, and yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I really like the breath mint container. I
Yeah, I thought
don't.
that was great. Like, I don't remember what kind it is, or I would happily plug them, but like it comes this way because that's clearly the top. But like this way, it just looks like such a good thing.
Does. Ah,
It's got a nice line.
it does. I need to buy a few of those, and I don't know what
Form and
I guess I could
function.
eat the breath mints, but
The only thing that would make it better is googly eyes. If you can put googly eyes on your project, do
oh
it.
yes, totally. That'll be what we'll be coming out with next week. Googly eyes. That's actually the Friday announcement. It's a whole line of googly eyes.
It's all googly eyes.
All googly eyes. Not really, but um, cool. So, last question that we're going to answer. SparkFun stuff must have found its way into university microsat projects too. Anything on the ISS? I don't know. Probably.
I know we've had stuff go up there. I don't know what off the top of my head, remember, but I know we've gotten messages from people pretty frequently actually saying this is going up there, this is going up there, we're doing this. I know they work with a lot of schools, with a lot of universities, with a lot of tech clubs, and a lot of people have been sending our stuff up there. But man, they better hurry because it's only going to be up there for what, 8 more years?
Yeah, not long, and then we'll have
I guess
the
that's more
lunar
space news. I
base.
think they're crashing it in 2030. I think.
I think it's I don't remember, but yeah, they're crashing it into the mid
I have a hard time
Pacific.
remembering the date because I refuse to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I don't want to acknowledge it either. I always dreamed of going up there. I don't think that's gonna happen. Uh, unless I come up with crazy amounts of money for Elon to
Right, I
take
was
me
going
up
to
there on
say.
a Falcon 9.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll
All I
see.
can do is scrape enough money together to get across the sea. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the ISS.
Yeah, it'll be difficult.
Yeah.
Well, with that, thank you everybody for watching. This has been Rob and Alie. Follow us on social. We'll do the next live stream in a month, recapping what happens in March. Stay tuned for our Friday announcement. It's 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. UTC. And with that, thanks everyone for watching. Have a
Thanks,
great day.
everybody. Watch us through March. March is going to be an exciting month here.
It is.
A lot of big stuff
Okay.
happening. All right, take
Thanks,
care, all.
everyone.
Cheers. Let us know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.